A 16-year-old boy is standing in the rain for the very first time in his life. He doesn't run for cover like everyone else, taking in something the rest of the world has been ignoring since the day they were born. His name is Gardner Elliott. He was born on Mars, and he has about 72 hours before Earth kills him. Rewind to the beginning. A private space company called Genesis sends 6 astronauts on a one-way mission to Mars, the first permanent human colony in history. 2 months into the journey, the mission commander, a woman named Sarah Elliott, discovers she's pregnant. By the time anyone figures out what to do about it, they're already too close to Mars to turn back. The crew lands, Sarah goes into labor, and 5 astronauts deliver a baby boy in a research facility on another planet. Sarah doesn't survive the birth. The low gravity of Mars creates complications her body can't handle, and she's gone within hours of her son entering the world. Back on Earth, the Genesis company faces an immediate crisis. Medical reports on the newborn reveal that being born in Mars' weaker gravity has permanently altered his physiology, especially his heart, which has developed larger than a normal human heart to compensate for the reduced gravitational pull. If this child is ever brought to Earth, the increased gravity could kill him. The head of Genesis makes 2 decisions quickly. First, the boy stays on Mars. Second, nobody outside the mission ever finds out he exists. The entire team agrees to keep Gardner Elliott a complete secret from the world. No press, no public records, no acknowledgement that a human being was born on another planet. The mission continues. Gardner grows up in the research camp, raised by rotating crews of astronauts, knowing absolutely nothing about his mother or his father. By the time Gardner is 16, he has met exactly 14 people in his entire life. All of them are scientists. None of them are his age. He's brilliant, raised among researchers and born with a sharp mind, but the isolation is closing in on him. He has no idea where he came from, who his parents were, or why nobody will answer his questions about his mother. In the camp, there's a locker that belonged to Sarah Elliott. It's been locked since before Gardner could remember, and nobody will tell him the code. One day, he hacks it open. Inside is a ring and a pen drive. He puts the ring on his finger and plugs in the drive. A video plays, his mother on a beach with a man, laughing, completely at ease. Gardner screenshots the man's face. He's never seen him before. He assumes it's his father. Gardner has been secretly chatting online with a girl on Earth named Tulsa, a bold, restless teenager with no family, bounced constantly between foster homes, who has no idea the boy she's talking to is actually on Mars. She thinks he's joking when he tells her about his life. She pictures him in a tent on Park Avenue. Gardner, for his part, has fallen for someone he's never met in person and has no way of ever reaching. That changes when an astronaut named Kendra, who has been Gardner's closest thing to a mother figure for years, convinces the Genesis boss that keeping Gardner on Mars forever is cruel and wrong. The boss knows the risks, bringing Gardner to Earth could kill him, but eventually agrees to attempt a series of surgeries and physical conditioning programs to prepare his body for Earth's gravity. Months of procedures and training follow. Gardner endures all of it. When it's over and the results are good enough to attempt the trip, he messages Tulsa to tell her he's coming. She tells him to hurry up before the foster system moves her again. Gardner arrives on Earth and immediately runs into his first problem. The medical evaluation results are bad. His body isn't responding the way they hoped, and the Genesis team starts discussing sending him straight back to Mars before he's even had a full day on the ground. Gardner isn't waiting around for that conversation to finish. He slips out. For the first time in his life, he runs across open ground. He tries to jump the way he can on Mars and discovers Earth's gravity gives him nothing back. Then it starts raining, and everything else stops mattering for a few minutes. He just stands there getting soaked while everyone around him sprints for shelter. He catches a bus to Tulsa's college. She spots him across the courtyard and immediately slaps him for going 7 months without a single message. Gardner explains he was on a special trip and couldn't reach out. She's not fully satisfied with that answer, but she lets it go when the class bell rings. He follows her inside, gets mistaken for a new student by the teacher, and corrects a classmate's answer about Edison and Tesla so precisely that the entire class applauds him. He's been raised by scientists his entire life. This is barely warming up for him. After class, Tulsa corners him and demands the real story. Gardner tells her the truth. He was born on Mars. His mother died when he was born. He's on Earth now to find his father, and he has nothing to go on except a screenshot of a man's face from a 16-year-old video. Tulsa doesn't fully believe him, but she agrees to help. They head to her place to grab money for the search, and as soon as they arrive, Kendra and the Genesis boss show up right behind them, having tracked Gardner down. They warn him his health is deteriorating and he needs to return to Mars immediately. Gardner refuses and bolts. Kendra and the boss chase them in a car. Tulsa, in a move that is either extremely brave or extremely reckless, commandeers an old helicopter she found near her house and breaks them out. She barely knows how to fly it. They escape anyway, right up until the helicopter runs out of fuel and drops toward a warehouse below. They jump clear just before it crashes and explodes into the building. Kendra and the Genesis boss see the explosion and assume the worst. Tulsa and Gardner are already running. They rent a car and hit the road. Gardner is experiencing Earth for the first time at full speed: towns, horses, food, weather, crowds of people his own age. Tulsa watches him react to all of it and slowly starts realizing his story might actually be true. The ring is their only concrete lead. Tulsa runs it online and finds it's a rare custom design, traceable to a specific jeweler. They drive to the jeweler, who pulls an old receipt with a delivery address. They have somewhere to go. But little did they know, a greater danger was already closing in. Kendra gets a call from Gardner's doctor. His blood work from the Earth evaluation is catastrophic. His heart is failing under the strain of Earth's gravity, and if he doesn't leave the planet soon, he's going to die. Kendra and the Genesis boss push harder to find him. Gardner, meanwhile, collapses mid-trip. His nose bleeds. Then he goes unconscious. Tulsa rushes him to the nearest hospital. The doctors run scans and see something that stops everyone in the room. A heart significantly larger than any human heart they've ever seen, and a bone structure unlike anything on their charts. Tulsa has been half-believing Gardner's story since the helicopter. Now she fully believes it. Gardner wakes up and tells her they have to leave. The hospital can't help him. They slip out before Kendra and the boss arrive minutes later to find an empty room. They drive to the address from the jeweler's receipt. It's the house from the video. They go inside, and the man from the screenshot is sitting there. Gardner tells him everything. His mother's name, how she died giving birth to him on Mars, that he's been searching for his father his whole life. He holds up the screenshot. The man goes quiet. Then he tells Gardner he has the wrong person. He's not his father. He's his uncle. Sarah was his sister. Gardner disappears while the conversation is still happening. Tulsa rushes outside and finds him walking toward the sea. He stands at the water's edge and says something that stops her completely. He didn't choose to be born on Mars, but he can choose where he dies. He collapses into the water. Kendra and the Genesis boss arrive at exactly that moment. The three of them pull Gardner out. They get him breathing again on the shore. The Genesis boss, the man who has been stone-faced and controlled through every crisis on this mission, breaks down completely. Gardner looks up at him and asks what his mother was like. The man describes her: brave, kind, fearless. Gardner says it quietly. He's his father, isn't he? After a long pause, the man says yes. There's no time for anything more than that. An ambulance takes Gardner to a nearby airport where a specially prepared aircraft is waiting. The plan is to fly him high enough above Earth's atmosphere that gravity's pull on his heart weakens enough to stabilize him. Gardner's father takes the controls himself, pushing the plane harder than the pilot's protocols allow, driving it up through the atmosphere until the weight lifts and everything inside goes weightless. Gardner floats. His vitals stabilize. He's going to survive, but not on Earth. The decision is made. Gardner goes back to Mars. There are no good options here. Earth will kill him if he stays. Tulsa, Kendra, and his father say goodbye at the launch site. Gardner goes back to the only place his body was ever built for. Back on Mars, he and Tulsa resume their long-distance conversations, talking regularly the way they always did, except now they've actually held each other, and both of them know exactly what the space between them costs. Kendra makes one more decision. She retires from Genesis, tracks Tulsa down, and formally adopts her. She tells her that one day, if they train hard enough, they can go visit Gardner together. The film ends on Mars. Gardner and his father walking side by side on the red ground. Two people who never should have found each other, from opposite ends of the universe, finally standing in the same place.